Yes, sir. We have another marvelous episode of Overreaction Live, and we're going to react to the college football playoff semifinal. Nino, I was telling Jalen on our College Football Showdown podcast, shameless plug, you guys need to check that out. You can find it on thecfbnation.com, and that'll kind of lead you to everywhere. I was telling him that this time of year, I hate getting on Twitter. Like, I'll literally get on, look at CFB Nation stuff, I'll get on FFB Nation stuff, and then I don't want to see anything else because this is the time of year where there's a lot of guys who kind of comment on college football and they don't watch it during the regular season. Where are these guys to be found after national championship Monday up until August? Like, we should really do a movie called The Casuals Are Coming. While we holding everybody down, and it's a few of us, we holding everybody down during the off season. The guys want to come and make open blanket statements. Please tell me you seen the Colin Cowherd show today.
Oh, Mini-Me? Yeah, I saw Mini-Me talking smack, bro. Well, the problem is this dude's been talking his nonsense, his verbal diarrhea all season.
Really?
He's a clickbait machine, bro. That's what he is. He's baby herd, right? He comes in there, stir the pot. Then Colin looks like he's the guy who settled everything down, But this was a terrible take.
Yeah.
Bro, UCF is not a small school. It's number 2 enrolled. Like, they have the most enrolled, number 2 in the country. Like, get out of here with this crap, dude. Oh, a small school in Florida.
Right. He probably has no clue Dylan Gabriel went there. Probably has no idea of the amount of success that Miles Plumlee have had since he's been there. Like, it is Rice Plumlee, my apology. It is so embarrassing to watch people who get paid to do this professionally and have these type of blunders. Like, I
guess you never heard of Gus Malzahn. Right? Never heard of Gus Malzahn in his life, right?
No, not at all. Anyway, I figured that we will open with that. Let's get into the reason why we are here. We had a dandy of a game at the Rose Bowl. Michigan defeated Alabama 27-20 in overtime. I saw Kurt Herbstreit with the post on Twitter, and I really love this post, Nino. I got to get your opinion on this. The Rose Bowl should be the home of the national championship annually. How do you feel about that?
100%.
Yes.
Bro, like, the whole day prior to it, there's the Rose Bowl parade. They got the better, you know what I mean? Like, they got everything on TV. They're talking about past games. This is where it should all go down. Don't tell me, I'm going to put it in Vegas in the Sphere, or I'm going to put it here. You put it there. It means something. You know what I mean? And win or lose, these kids who earned the right to be in the championship, they have that memory of being able to say, yes, I was in national championship A, B, I went to the Rose Bowl. I was in, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be top 5, right? That's got to be a top 5 stadium to play in if you're, college football athlete.
I would have to agree. I think the purist in me a couple of years ago was like, I kind of like when the best team in the Big Ten, if they weren't in the national championship, played the best team in the Pac-12 if they weren't in the national championship. But with the Pac-12 essentially becoming the 2-pack, I would love if the Rose Bowl became the home of the national championship. Nino, but we know what everybody's here for. They want to hear your takes. What were your biggest takeaway from this Michigan and Alabama game?
Bro, Michigan did what they did the past 2 or 3 weeks. They won the battle of the trenches, like physical ass football, right? And they did what, unfortunately, Georgia couldn't do 2 games prior, and they exposed Caden Proctor and McLaughlin at the center position. Exposed. Like,
yeah,
they were lost. They were stunned. They were doubling them, and they didn't know what to do. There was times these guys were coming in straight untouched, blowing up Milroe. What was able, and then I hear on Twitter, I see him, the guy from Florida State could have put up those numbers. Yeah, he probably could have. The problem is that kid don't have enough athleticism as Milroe does. It would have got a lot more uglier. What they did outside of like the first 8 minutes in the first quarter, being able to not let Milroe climb the pocket to get out and run. When he ran, it was backwards or East and West, which killed them. He was great after he came back from being benched, being able to find it, climb the pocket, being able to make that next play if he could, and then take off. Because when he was up in the pocket, there was one guy to beat.
Right.
What they would force him to do was go to the outside. Now you're beating 4, 5, 6 guys, and he couldn't do it. And like I said, that O-line was getting exposed. But what I took away from this when I heard all the talk about Saban and all that, he looked kind of vanilla in the adjustments, right? Oh, left side of the line's getting smoked. Let's just run the ball to the right. Like there was no adjustment, no rotating guys at the line. And I know the line was a problem all year, but like his adjustments just didn't seem to be anything to like actually make it to be where Alabama could take over the game. It was just enough to stay in the game. Well, Michigan, came at you and they just didn't stop. And we're going to get to it in a little bit about J.J. McCarthy in the passing game. So I'll stay off that topic.
So at the beginning of the game, and D now, of course, he was in our group chat. It was like, it was Caleb Dell's interception that was nullified. And a thought crept into my mind, because mind you, since the beginning of the season, I've had Michigan winning it all. That would my college football playoff was, if you don't know, it was Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida State. I only got 2 of the 4 in. My guy Nino was big on Texas, and Texas was able to make it. But it was just like, it was that feeling of, not again, Michigan. Do not do this to me. But I felt like at some point in this game, Sharon Moore and J.J. McCarthy were able to reel things in. Do you what do you believe got them going as a play caller and quarterback?
See, I find this I felt like you were setting me up for this one. Right? Like I felt like this was like a setup. Like I was going in to face Wakefield. Like I was supposed to take the heat, and you were throwing me a knuckleball. Because in my opinion, they didn't find a passing game until there was 6 minutes left in the game at all. Like none. They tried to feed Colston Loveland all game, but the linebackers for Alabama ate that up. Like they weren't giving JJ anything. It was all Blake Corum until they decided, for some reason why I don't know why they didn't do it off the rip, put Roman Wilson in motion. Holy shit. You put the best guy in your receiving core in motion so you can see whether it's man, you can see whether it's zone, you can see who's lined up if they're spying with the safety in the box. No, you didn't do that till it. But when you did that, what happened? All of a sudden, we started to see the J.J. McCarthy that everybody talked about, the guy who was damn near dominant and elite in the middle of the field. I'm not a J.J. guy. You know that. Yeah. But I have said,
you've given him his respect, though.
Right. When you were like, I don't see it. I'm like, the only thing I do see is in the middle of the field. Between 25 yards and under, right, from hash to hash, that kid was way dialed in compared to last year. And he kind of fall off at the end. But they didn't develop a passing game. There was no, we're dominating until the last 6-7 minutes of the game when Roman Wilson was there. Like that touchdown pass, that was a pure blunder on Lawson. Like you just missed the tackle, and the dude went for, up the sideline for a touchdown. You notice that it's Lawson. It wasn't Terrion Arnold, right? It wasn't Kool-Aid. It wasn't Caleb Downs. Like, it was the 5th guy. And I'm going to say now, Malachi Moore and Lawson were the 2 worst defenders in that secondary, which is sad because Malachi Moore was the senior. He should have been the dude that was the leader in that group. He let everything stop when he let Roman Wilson over the middle in man coverage. You don't get beat, bro. When that's your guy, you play up. You don't let someone cross you like that. And he got smoked, and that set off that drive.
Terrion Arnold's been balling, by the way. I think there were plays to be made, I think there were a couple of plays. There was one pass that went completely through the wide receiver's hands. There were a couple of drop passes. I felt like there were more opportunities for Michigan to make plays. You think about the flea flicker that they try to run, and they had, Wilson on a crosser, and the play got blown up. So Blake Corum couldn't get the pitch back to the quarterback easily. And luckily the play didn't turn to a nightmare for Michigan at that particular time. I feel like there were plays to be made, but the reason I asked you this question, because I feel like Sharon Moore at many times this year has kind of been, you laughed at him. Like you think about the Penn State game, how he was crying and, the snot bubbles coming out of his nose and all of that.
I love you, man.
But I think he's done a good job. I just think that he's just looked like At
Well,
times.
he ain't done shit. He followed the blueprint that was in front of him. He followed the book that Harbaugh gave. You think that dude's running? You think that the guy who walks around and struts his shit is going to let the dude who's crying on TV? The reason why he was crying on TV because he knew it was the only time he was going to get on TV again. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you don't think Sharon Moore's calling the plays now?
When it comes to the big ones, when it comes to the ones that matter, no.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think that Jim Harbaugh's going to put his future. This is the big daddy, right? Oh, I'm here. I'm going to put it in this guy's hands. No, we lose. It's on my back.
I think it's in his hands now. Harbaugh will control. He wants that balance. We all know Harbaugh wants that 50% pass, that 50% run, and I think that there are times, hey man, you need to run a goddamn ball or look for this. Of course, but I think for the most part he's calling the plays. I could be incorrect. So let's talk about that drive with 4:41 left on the clock. Michigan down 20-13 after a Will Riker field goal. Nino, did you honestly think that Michigan will pull it off?
I didn't trust anybody in that team that wore blue and yellow except for Blake Corum. In the second half, their offense was kind of like,
it was sputtering. It was sputtering.
What I mean? Like, I wrote on Twitter, who was going to make the adjustment first? The offensive line coach for Alabama or the linebackers coach for Alabama? And it seemed as though the linebackers coach made the adjustment coming out the gate because they were bottling up the run and they seemed to be getting a little bit of pressure. I thought Dallas Turner would have done a little bit more. He was a factor in the game. I was just hoping to see his comments after I'm done. I'm absolutely out. I'm gone. That speaks volumes to me.
It did. I came here to win a national championship.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Yes.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. I did have, like I said, I had faith in Corum. And he was the only one. But they weren't out of it. There was nobody really took over that game. It was right down. It was a classic battle. But the thing that I think killed Alabama, and I said it was, the trenches was, bro, you can't skip 5 balls off the ground. You can't skip five snaps underneath Jalen Milroe's knees, dude, and expect, you know what I'm saying, to win that game. Like, there was one drive where they were on the, I want to say, Michigan's 40, Michigan's 38. 2 bad snaps back to back from McLaughlin. One of them just the commentator tried to say it was Milroe's fault because he's got to catch that, but you can't try to put that on Milroe with the things at his shins, right? And to the right of him. I mean, they ended up going from probably putting at least 3 on the board to being on their own 39 and having a punt.
Well, let's talk about it. You brought it up. Let's go before we talk about the OT. Let's go back and talk about it. There came a time in this game where every time Alabama had the ball in the second half, I literally watched the center to quarterback exchange between Seth McLaughlin, as you mentioned, and Jalen Milroe, and it reminded me of Jalen Hurts. I don't know if you've seen him on the, what is it? Is it New Heights? I believe is the name of the Kelsey Brothers show. And he was talking about how fast Jason Kelsey snapped the ball. Nino, did you think this had a huge effect on the game?
They had problems all year with snapping on the ball. They seemed to, like I said, when he came back from the benching, it seemed to get a little bit better. It did happen in the Georgia game in the second half. He skipped one off the ground, but Milroe was able to pick it up and take off. I think this doesn't happen if they put more of these kids on the center. Because I was saying the whole second half, like, bro, why does this kid got to be in the shotgun the whole game? Like, put him on the center. And then, right, now you can get these quick step, 2-step, boom, into the slot. Boom, you tight end on a rollout, give them space to move. When you're already in the shotgun, you're already 5 yards back. You got a guy coming on untouched out the outside or up the gut. You have to move now. You can't watch what you're doing. When you're up in front of them, you have a little. I feel like the QB's got a little bit more of a hold in the game. You have more control. In the shotgun like that, he ain't small, right? He's 6 foot. He can stay up in there on the line. I think they need more of that with kids going forward. But the exchange was definitely a huge, huge issue, especially that one one. You literally was a swing of at least 3, and that 3 could have been a factor for them in the end.
Absolutely. You think about the Senior Bowl, and another shameless plug, CFB Nation will be in Mobile at the end of this month. I'm super excited about it. You think about what the Senior Bowl does for a lot of these players. You think about somebody like we saw Max Duggan last year. How many times was he under center during the regular season? So you put these guys under center, you start seeing some interesting things. So you're right. It's almost like a lost art if you're having a quarterback and center exchange issue. Why aren't we just putting them under center? And I think that's something that, the Alabama staff is going to have to answer for the rest of the year. So let's talk about this elephant in the room. We're in overtime, 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. Alabama is down 27-20. You got one play. How do you feel about that play call, and who do you feel is to blame?
The play call, I don't really hate the play call so much. I hate the play call more. No. I hate the design, okay? Like the QB draw, I'm cool with that. QB up the gut. But your offensive line has had trouble all game. And the reason why it didn't work is because that gentleman on Michigan blew up your offensive lineman and pushed him into Milroe, stepped on his foot. That's why he fell down. Had he not stepped on his foot, now I think we're talking about a game of inches because he was going forward. And he was probably going to get at least to the half-yard line. I don't know where he would have fell, but the guard got blew up, and that ended everything. But Tommy Rees has got to be the one to I think this was Saban kind of letting Tommy Rees hang himself. I was so confused, right? In past years, you would have seen a change. Something would have changed in this offensive scheme because it wasn't working, right? Like, bro, they were trying. So I could tell when they were trying to do things. Atkins, when he came in, I knew they were trying to feed him the ball, right? The kid was in motion all over the field. What do they try? And every time he was on the field, they either tried to force him the ball or Milroe was staring at him trying to get him the ball. I thought Kobe Prentice would have had more of an option. That's because Ja'Cory Brooks hit the portal. He had 2 targets and he ended up 1 reception late in the 4th quarter. But it's like, it seemed like Nick was like, all right, Tommy, I'm going to let you do your thing, bro. But this be known, we don't win this, you might be looking for better employment next year.
Adios. And I have to mention what D-Now has mentioned in the chat. If he follows the guard he was in, it looked like it was an RPO.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was a trap. And it looked like that they allowed the edge defender to intentionally come in unblocked. So it looked like if he goes up the slightest, follow the guard, and maybe a touchdown. It also looks like if he's able to go up, sneak to the outside, he can kind of decide whether he wants to hit the passing route.
He had options. If he didn't get stepped on, that was the thing. He was making a move. If you look, when he got stepped on, he was making a move. Whether it was to go to follow the guard, whether it was to go to the outside and give him time to throw the ball to the tight end, whatever he was doing, he was in the process of doing that. But his lineman got blown up and stepped on his foot, and that was that.
Yeah, it was just an epic game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was great for college football. It's just been so much talk about the transfer portal, the opt-outs, bowl games losing its lure. I love what you said on Twitter the other day. I'm like, see, this is why my guy is in the cash room. He just gets it. So let's move on to this other game. The All-State Sugar Bowl did not disappoint with Washington defeating Texas 37-31 in thrilling fashion. Michael Penix Jr. threw for 430 yards, 2 touchdowns, leading the Washington Huskies to a national championship appearance against Michigan. Nino, should Michael Penix, now I know the answer to this. I know how you felt about this. I know the answer, but I want you to tell everybody else the answer. Should Michael Penix Jr., should he have won the Heisman?
Yeah, 100%. His number. What are people going to say? They're going to say, "Well, he only had 300 yards, Russin, and Jaden Daniels had 1,000." He had no losses, and those 0 L's were on his back.
Right.
2 of those games against Oregon was his arm strength and his play calling, sitting in the pocket and eating that hit. and putting that ball in Odunze's hands and McMillan's hands and Polk's hands. Like, come on, bro. Like, it was a travesty that they didn't give him the thing. I understand that, MVP is it MVP most valuable player in the league, or is it most valuable to your team? Because I've always wondered that, right? Because it's the
Right.
most valuable player to. I could go for. So if a guy goes for 1,500 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, and they win 5 games,
Yeah. Where do we draw the
where's the
line in the
line?
sand?
You know
That's
what
a
I
great
mean?
point.
Like, why
That's a
did
great
Jaden
point.
Daniels have 1,000 yards? Because outside of Malik Neighbors, they had nobody else but Brian
He was
Thomas, right?
running for his life, bro.
And he was getting speared like Goldberg multiple
Right.
times. So, like,
Right.
it's like, I don't know. Like, the kid had a
Yeah.
great year, but Michael Penix was elite.
Yeah.
And he's
Well,
been elite for 2 consecutive seasons.
Facts. It's crazy when you think about it, and I will have to agree with you. When you think about the award, do you think about it at face value as most valuable? Do you think about the key moments? Heisman has always been, I think, a team-oriented award with you making key plays in key moments. Washington now is 14-0. When Jaden Daniels played elite teams, they couldn't find a way to win games. Like the Florida State debacle, you think about the Alabama loss. Like, should the award be pushed back?
I think so. I think the award
Yeah.
should be at the end after it all.
Yeah.
Like, all right, yeah. Well, Michael Penix is still playing.
He is.
And they're still in it because of him.
Yeah.
So he has if Quinn Ewers wins that game, I think Quinn Ewers should be in the talk of like the Heisman Trophy.
I agree
right?
with you. I agree with you.
I just I think they need to. I think that's going into next year. These guys, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, right? They need to sit in a dark room together for a little bit and reevaluate a lot of things going into next year. Because get it right. You start something new, get it right.
I would agree with you. Nino, let's talk about this game. What were your biggest takeaways?
This looked like Washington Huskies offensive defensive line against Oregon. They were physical again. And they weren't very physical all season. Oh boy, here we go. Comment. CFB is a hot mess. And listen, somebody puts on the maroon cloaks and robes and makes decisions. Who they are, we don't know. But
it's Charlie Baker and the boys. They don't care about college football.
You see what he did in Massachusetts in the lottery, bro? Like, why is he even in college football?
I have no clue.
But yeah, it was the trench game for me. Like, they were physical. They were getting after it. I think they played well. I mean, the running game for Texas was good. Baxter looked good. Jadon Blue looked good. It was Michael Penix, man. And I hear, he was so mobile. 31 yards is mobile. Like, that's mobile to you? Okay, yeah, he averaged like 9.5 yards per rush. But that makes him look like Michael Vick. Michael Irvin, please put the bag down, bro. Put the bag down. Yeah, maybe he throws a rocket and it comes out of his hands fast like Michael Vick, bro. But he would need a sidecar and a motorcycle to catch up to Michael Vick now. Never mind that Michael Vick coming out of
in his prime, right.
But yeah.
I mean, once again, it's just people who, and I'll give Michael Irvin credit. He does watch his guys, the Hurricanes, but these people aren't watching, the spring camps. They're not watching the fall camps, looking to see who's going to be the starters. They're not attending spring games other than their alma mater. It just goes to show, like, I see things I didn't want to see today. I saw Stephen A. Smith, and I love what Stephen A. Smith has done. But Jesus Christ, just don't talk about college football. That's all I ask.
Stick to the NFL and NBA, bro. Stay in your lane, bro. Okay. I just gotta say, I told you he was going to be a factor when we spoke last week, and when DJ went down, my guy, Jermani Bernard, came in, and he was a big, big factor. He had that big reception down the stretch and a couple of runs. I told you, he's a future for them.
So, what's next for Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns?
Absolutely nothing. I think where did they get burnt on in this game? safety play, right?
Yeah, they and believe it or not, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later. I'm going to foreshadow here a little bit. I was surprised they weren't really able to get enough pressure on Michael Penix Jr. in this game.
So if you listen to the pregame coming in, everybody was pissed off he didn't win
Hmm.
the Heisman.
Right,
Everybody. Oh,
right,
Dunze said that the lineman had an endeavor this game to prove that Michael Penix was the guy. So they were motivated to keep him
right,
upright, and it was
right,
visible.
right.
But I thought that the safety play was terrible. Terrible. Right? When you were supposed to have a guy over the top, like outside of Xavier Worthy having butter on his fingers, which has been his problem his whole collegiate career. And
Yeah,
everyone
we've
sweep
seen
it
it
under the
from
rug
time to
because he
time.
runs a 4.240. But,
Yeah.
you can't catch the ball, Quentin Johnson. You're going to be riding the pine. But that was the only thing that I thought was bad, right? Like, and they had bad safety play. What does he do going into next year? He has a 5-star Andrew McCumber coming in from Clemson, and he has a 4-star coming in from as a freshman as well. So it's like, dude, ain't no problem. Shock's sitting good. You got to understand, Shock went from hitting rehab to couldn't get a job. Everybody hated this guy to being in the college football playoff. Who's replacing him right now in Texas? Nobody.
Nobody.
No, Dabo ain't replacing him. I'm sorry, Ryan Day. You can win all the easy games. You can't win the hard ones. 59-6, cool. But those 6, those hurt a lot more than those 59 feel good.
Yeah, the quarterback play was abysmal, and I love what you said on Twitter. By the way, again today with the Cadence Salter. I think
he's going to Auburn. No, I'm going to tell you that.
He's going to Auburn.
Oh, Hugh Freeze brought him to Liberty.
Yeah, is Hugh Freeze going to play around though like he did this year?
There
were a couple of schools that played around with the quarterback contract.
He can't play no more. He brought in his guy. He sucked balls. Balls. Paint throwing is terrible. And that shout out Jay Crane. I asked him, is this the answer? He goes, no, it is what it is. Unless you surround this dude with incredible weapons, he's not going to be a dude. Okay, that's cool. You have probably a top wide receiver room coming in there, right? Coleman, you have another 5-star wide receiver. You brought a quarterback. You switched over to wide receiver. You got a huge guy in the transfer portal, wide receiver. You got guys. You're going to try to tell me that you don't think that he's going to try to go get his guy that he recruited to Liberty, who's now dominating?
Right.
And put him in a position with Jacques Hunter and Rivaldo Fairweather, and I'm hearing that they're getting J.L. Skinner on the other side of tight end? I don't know, man. There's a reason why he waited.
I'm about to say I can see it, and it makes a lot of sense. I just hope that I thought it's where Nick Saban messed up this year. I thought it's where Ryan Day messed up this year. They allowed these quarterback decisions to bleed into the regular season, and Ohio State made a big mistake, bro.
You forced the kid out that was good.
Yeah, they did, and the only reason why he started off sluggish, only reason why Kyle McCord started off sluggish because there was this talk this entire time. McCord's our guy. McCord's our guy. Then the last week of fall camp, all of a sudden we started seeing all this news like Bugnuck. Shout out to them. I think they are the best Ohio State podcast out there. They were like, "Yo, Devin Brown's making a push." I'm like, "How? Why are we doing this?" So you pushed a quarterback that could. Is he CJ Stroud? No, but is he formidable? Hell yes. Can you win with them? Hell yes. They made a mistake and they paid for it dearly.
Look what they're doing in Syracuse, bro. Syracuse they got Deuce Chestnut now at DB. They got another wide receiver guy. Gadsden's coming back.
He's coming back. Yeah.
Bro, come on. The Quint Allen at running back, bro. I feel bad for people, but McCord going to come out there. He's a quiet. They always say, watch out for the quiet.
You got to watch the quiet ones.
He's a quiet kid. He leads by his play. He's not out there trying to rob you. Now you put the fire to the quiet ones. And they always say, watch out. He's going to be out there like a silent assassin, I think.
Yeah, I think that might be a hand-in-glove fit. Nino, let's talk about this Washington offensive line. We talked about them a little bit earlier. They won the Joe Moore Award. For anybody who doesn't know what that award is, it's for the best offensive line unit in all of the sport. Talk about how great they've been all year.
I want to say it's less than 20 sacks, right? I want to see Penix only been sacked like 17 times all season, right? Like, if you watch games and he barely gets flushed out of the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
They've just done a tremendous job. I think After last year, with everything that went down with them and the way that Penix should have, been in that, right? He had a good shot at being in the Heisman. He obviously Caleb won it, but like they got snubbed again. Nobody was giving them credit, no matter what game it was. They still were getting. I think they had a vendetta this year to go out and prove something, and they 100% proved. I mean, those guys. Every single one of them guys is playing on Sunday. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Where they fall in this draft, second round, third round, first round, I don't know. But man, like, what a way to go out, right? What a way to go out. Keeping your guy clean, like he was, Mr. Clean. He did his thing. They all did it, and you could just tell right off the rip. You had a mic down by the helmet smashing, bro. Those guys were leading the way. They were pissed off.
Everybody that's watching this now, make sure you stay locked in with CFB Nation. We got Devi Darlings on deck. I got to get the Nino out of here. I just got to ask one more question, Nino. It's kind of a rapid fire question. You don't even have to answer this now. We can even get people something to wait for next time they see us. But do you think Washington will be able to retain Kalen DeBoer? We're talking about a guy that has won at so many levels. He's just a winner, bro. Do you think they'll be able to hold on to him?
Who is their QB next year?
Is it Will Rogers, right?
He's staying.
He's staying? Okay.
He's staying.
One last question. Who wins the national championship?
Michael Penix. I listen, Will Johnson is great.
And
Rodmore is probably close to being elite.
But
they got three of them. They got three wide receivers that can beat you at any time. And that line on both sides of the ball, I think they're playing a little bit more possessed, like with a reason than Michigan. Michigan's playing because they're trying to prove everybody wrong. You screwed us twice. We're coming for everything. I'm with, and I wouldn't be upset if Michigan won it like at all. But I just, when they say in sports, it's always like that special thing. I feel this game against Texas, I saw that special thing.
You saw that.
Team. Yeah.
That one shining moment.
And I think if you told me it came down to, because this ain't going to be a blowout. I really don't think it's going to be a blowout.
No.
If you said you got all your marbles, all your chips right now, 2 minutes left in the game, which QB you taking?
Yeah, it would have to be Michael Penix Jr. with 2 minutes for sure. But I've said Michigan all year. I think this is the year. And I said this on a podcast the other day. I think sometimes the villain wins in a movie, and sometimes those movies are the best movies. We're talking about Hamburger Gate. We're talking about sign stealing. I think against all odds, I think Michigan will prevail, and I think they'll win a national championship. And come here. I don't think it'll be a close game.
How about this one? I think the game plan is going to be shit because I think he's cashed out. You don't go hire an agent. You don't hire an agent. That's top in sports. If you're coming back next year.
Yeah. So they better win.
That's why I don't think they're going to. I don't because now it's going to be in your boy's hands. Let's see if he's the real deal. Let's see if the snot bubbles and crying and tissue box McGee is good enough, because I don't think it is. All right? I don't think it is. But can somebody go out there to your local Stop and Shop, Shaw's, Trader Joe's, Market Basket, whatever it may be, turn that milk carton around and find Donovan Edwards, please? Where the hell is that young man been, bro? Gone. Lost. He needs to find Forrest Gump maneuvers, get them shoes back on. I just like running. I want to run. Once I started running, I just couldn't stop running.
Hey, man, I know you got to get the Debbie Dollars, man. I appreciate the hell out of you. And I'm going to say this right now. Michigan may be one of the most desirable jobs in all of college football. Texas A&M has a lot of resources. That's a desirable job as well. Sharon Moore will not be the head coach of Michigan. It will be a hot day in January before Sharon Moore will be the head coach of that team. Nino, I know I got to get you out of here. It's been real, everybody. We will see y'all Monday.
Next coach of Michigan could be Urban Meyer.